Hello. Well, this is interesting. I notice in the last 3 or 4 videos that sometimes when I come to the journal, I do have an understanding of maybe at least part of what the topic will be because something inspired me to come. This one's more normal, you know, just an absolute blank. So what do? You turn the camera on and you talk. Are we in heart? It's a really good place to be. Everything we think that is really isn't. The way we think things work, chances are excellent that they really don't work that way. And I'm really glad to be 50 plus. Being young is fine. Being young in body, that's great. You know, I look kind of klutzy going up and down the stairs. My knees don't work so well. And it's something to have a young teen come by and hop, skip, and jump 3 stairs at a time, you know, and you think, oh, gee. But I wouldn't trade where I am inside for anything. All those years coming up, I said something last time about my life being a love affair with God. It really has been. Only it's so much easier now. It's like you meet yourself in heart and you realize, hey, it's okay. I'm okay. I didn't think I was okay, you know? And it's very topsy-turvy because I had no clue who I was. I just thought I did. And more, I don't know is still my favorite phrase. I couldn't identify self if you paid me. You could offer me $1 million and I would really be hard pressed. And this is one of the things that draws me to Muji, because he understands that. Now, I'll give you, just for fun, and maybe to get some response, maybe you guys can share with me, the closest definition I can get to self. So when you go to look for it, it's not there. When you go to find out, let's say you're having a feeling and you're really angry and you're hurting over that, if you'll be with your feeling and if you'll look really deep and just watch and not judge, you know, all that stuff, just watch, look for who's hurt. Who is it that's hurting? Look for the you that's in there. You know, the mind makes assumptions. Get out of the head. The head can't do this. Ain't possible. Give it up. Don't bother. Come into heart. And when you go to look for the self, what you find is that whatever it is you're finding, you can always step back from that. You're observing that. Well, if you're observing that, then you can't be that, because the you that is prior to that. I can't say I'm my body because the I that I am was prior to that, the spirit. And so Muji is just such a total champ and an expert at guiding people into this. He does the same thing I do, as far as there's nothing the mind has to say that's going to be really useful. And he's really good at spotting the mind when it comes into the conversation. And he's good at helping people see that it has nothing of worth to offer because it doesn't have, well, I don't know why, because I will say that the mind doesn't have sufficient depth. It can't swim in these waters of heart. It's lost. It's minuscule, and the depth of perception and vision that's possible to us. Some say that we're gods of a sort. Now, little g here, all right? I believe in God. We'll just leave it there. Maybe so. One thing's for certain, we've been dumbed down, abused, and mistreated in the society and in our schooling and education in such a way as to think that we're nothings, that we're inconsequential, irrelevant, even that our planet is, that the whole human race is nothing, you know, and whether there's any intent behind this or not that's evil and dark doesn't matter in a way, because the point stands, you know, that's the net result in the West, or at least in America, of the education and the enculturation that we receive. The whole Darwinian thing just fits right in there, even though Darwin himself repudiated his own theory later in his life. You think that's in the textbooks? I don't think so. Newton was into, I don't know that you might call it metaphysics, and that was his whole thing. And his other discoveries were as a result of that. Are we taught that? Of course not. And so there's a real picking and choosing going on in what we've been fed. And I would say that there was an agenda. There is an agenda. But the thing is, that was how the mind was trained. Well, you can leave that behind. Go into heart and just drop all of that. Take up the I don't know mantra with me and be willing to just be open to what is. One of the very first things you'll note is that you're vast. We have so many beliefs in the way. That's the thing. Those beliefs are more powerful than we realize. And they stop us from seeing things. They stop us, they control our perceptions. And so by feeding us beliefs that way, it was a way to gain control of us. What if I don't want to say it? All right. Our energies, are we used as food by ETs? That's out there. The energy, let's just pretend, okay, so we all have telepathy. Now, that's a given. Whether you accept it or not, it has something to do with whether or not you're going to be aware of it. Because if you don't accept it, then you screen it out of your awareness. And so you think all thoughts that run through your head are yours. That's just how that works. If you stop accepting that belief, then you have an opportunity to begin to notice that thoughts of very different vibration and frequency come through that don't feel like you, that just don't feel like the way you think. And you can begin to recognize someone else's thought. Now, what if we were also all clairvoyant? Clairvoyant means clear seeing. It's from the French. All right. So what if we all had the ability to see auras and energies and angels and elementals and all of that? Let's pretend that we did. We do, you see. We screen it out. Let's pretend, just for now, you're in heart. Heart is powerful. You're a much more powerful being when you're centered in heart. So let's pretend that we all have this ability to see energies. Let's not carry it too far, or the bodies are going to be completely invisible. As we know, the solid mass in a body fits in a thimble. So we won't carry it that far. But we can at least see the aura and the energies that gather around people. All right. There are cameras, by the way, for those of you who love supposedly objective science. There are cameras that are able to photograph not just the Kirlian kind of photography, but it's moved on to capturing other energies. And so it's possible to photograph to some extent the aura, certain energies in the aura. All right, so we can all see these things. Now, did you know that what music you listen to has a very great deal to do with how the energy in your force field is moving, what it looks like? They've done this in experiments with plants where they will play certain kinds of music and see how the plants grow, either healthy and fine or spindly and sick. And especially the harder kinds of rock music are not good for the plants. The plants will actually grow in the direction away from them, as well as not thrive. Whereas certain of your classical music is, like Beethoven, is pretty much universally healthful to the plant, and the plant will actually grow toward the music source. Well, it influences your energy force field. If you're listening to waltzes, it brings a lot of violet spinning energy into the aura. It's a cleansing energy. It actually cleans the energy. And so there are also energetic entities, shall we say, that gather. And like attracts like. When you're thinking beautiful thoughts, when you're feeling a love for your child, or when you're feeling something wonderful, that magnetizes things that are like that. And so it grows on itself, and it calls light and beauty and beings, angels and things, into your aura. When you're having a temper tantrum and raging over something or another, well, it invokes beings, it invokes beings that like attracts like, and there's darkness, and it's a jagged energy, and it's not beautiful, and it's not beautifully colored, and so on. Now, why did I go off onto this? I was resisting this whole thing. Okay, so energy moves, energy flows through. Now, as human beings, we have something really special in the cosmos. We have a direct connection with Source. And so we actually have a light stream that feeds us on an energetic level that comes down in through the top of the head, and that goes into the heart. We have a direct connection with God, you could say. But you don't have to call it God. That's not necessary. And it's a fountain that that flows. And we have the chakra points in the aura that the clairvoyant can see how well the energy's flowing through our being. There are not a whole lot of people out there that have a totally healthy chakra system and flow of energy through their being. This is not the land of perfection. This is 3D, and there are all kinds of energies wandering around here. And so it's a matter of choice. Every moment of the day we make choices, and we're either spiraling up and increasing light, or we're spiraling down and decreasing it. So when you have negative entities, however they were created is not the point here. The point is that they exist, and they feed literally on negative energy, on dark energy. And so they are attracted to that. And so what they do is that they will hang around someone who has a tendency, let's say, to lose their temper a lot. And they try to get them in situations to cause the loss of temper, because then they're spewing out, they're taking the light that's coming in that's not qualified, good, bad, or other. It's just light energy. And they're qualifying it with this anger and this rage and this darkness and spewing it out. Well, there are beings that use that as food. And so they get together and they try to, just like the angels will get together and try to support and encourage, these will try to support and encourage you in misbehavior. As an example, even you have ghosts that are really lost souls, that if you have someone who was a terrible alcoholic, this spirit, if it doesn't choose to go into the light, some of them are afraid to, because they're afraid that they've been bad and they're going to be judged. And I would encourage all beings to go into the light regardless. Source is fair. Anyway, they will hang out around bars. And when people get drunk, they thirst and hunger after that feeling. And they will actually enter the drunk person's body because they want to have those sensations. And because we can't see them or perceive them, and somebody who's drunk's not in a good condition to be doing that anyway, you know, a lot of people act very uncharacteristic when they're drunk. Well, there's reasons, you know, and so why? Why is this coming through? It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm not used to going off into these kind of things, as you know, but I'm surrendered to the light that flows through. And what flows through, you'll watch me fight it a little bit sometime. But my goal is not to do that at all. My goal is just to be the pure channel so that higher self can speak here. And I think I'll cut it off now. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'll tack this on at the end. Just going back over it, and I realized I didn't give you my definition for self, which I don't really have one. But, you know, the closest I can get is it's more like the space that everything is inside of me. I contain it all. I find it all inside. And I don't understand it. And I know it's not a very good definition, but I can't find a self that I don't contain. It's all inside. It's like the these eyes God thing. Okay, so what's your definition for self? Have you found yourself in there? Spend a little time with Muji. I put one of his videos at the very top of my favorites list because it does such a good job of this. There's always something preceding. Whatever you find, you're before that. You precede that, so that can't be you. Talk to you later.